Hello, hi, I'm Momita, your transformation coach. Yes, you have guessed it right. I'm very excited and overwhelmed to share that my first two episodes of Rendezvous, the transformation story, has got over 200 plus downloads. This has been possible only because of you. Each one of you who has supported me in this journey, encouraged me with their feedback, and following me on all social media channels. Thank you so much. Look forward to your continued support for this episode, third episode, where I'm launching Sakar Mattoo. He has 15 plus years of experience in managing and leading IT operations and program management for global manufacturing and retail clients such as Cisco, Juniper, Microsoft, Daimler, and many more. He has started his own LLP in 2019, which is a business centered around providing cloud kitchen infrastructure and services. If you feel this is diverse, he is a practicing leadership coach and he has completed his certification with Marshall Goldsmith and pursuing his certification with ICF. His areas of interest is also something that I love, and that's spirituality, geopolitics, and neurosciences. I'm sure his profile itself is interesting enough to tune in and listen to what Sakar feels about transformation. So stay tuned in. Hi, Sakar. How are you?
Hey, hi, Momita. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing good and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Likewise. Yeah, I'm all excited and all game for it.
So, as you know, Sakar, my season two is all about transformation and change. So, what what does this word transformation mean to you?
Yeah. So, Momita, whenever I hear this word transformation, the first thing that comes to my mind is the tremendous intensity of the desire to not to be, to not to be what you have become. So that desire, that urge to get past that threshold, get past that cusp is the first feeling or thought this word evokes in my headspace. Also, uh, if you break down the root word transform with a hyphen between trans and form, then the word itself points towards a certain transitioning or transcending the present form in a way that nothing of the previous form remains, and a potentiality for a totally new possibility arises. So I think this is what broadly this word means to me.
This is a powerful start, Sakar. I mean, the way you are looking at transformation, and in fact, that's the reason why we are talking, and that's where breaking it down to simplicity, simple terms like trans and form. I love the way you articulated it because all of us feel transformation is not something that I need to get in. And I think our listeners are listening today and really going to enjoy this. So, what
I
is
hope
your
so.
yeah, definitely. So, what is your belief about change and transformation?
That's a good one. So my belief around change and transformation, or change versus transformation, perhaps is, see, if there is a glass kept on a tabletop, I push it a bit, this is one kind of change. I push it a bit further, that's another kind of change. However, the essential quality never changes. Also, in case of a change, that point of reversibility always exists as far as my understanding is concerned. Whatever has changed from A to B always has the strong tendency to roll back to the previous state. But when we say transformation, the point of return gets almost non-existent, because first of all, we don't know what the final transformed state will look like. And real transformation does not occur with an end in sight, as far as my understanding of transformation is concerned. It does not stay. It does not say that I am in place one and I have to go to place two. It simply says I don't have to be in place one. That's all. Doesn't matter where I go, but I don't have to be here. You don't have a roadmap in hand. You don't wait for You don't wait to be assured of a comfortable destination. You don't wait to be guaranteed a safe journey and a safe arrival. So I think these are the two fundamental. This is the fundamental difference, perhaps, between change and transformation. And and you know another thought that is coming to my mind, or another compare and contrast, or perhaps it may be complementing thing between change and transformation, because in day-to-day life we use these terms interchangeably, and they are kind of synonym to each other. So in that context, what is coming to my mind is that see, all change is not improvement, all change is not transformation, but all transformation has to be a change. You know what I mean? So yeah, so this is what it is broadly for me, uh,
Yeah,
between change and transformation.
I really like the way you pretend that change, from A to B, and it's always a probability that you go back from B to A again. And that's what we generally deal with when change is not sustainable, and we come back to something from a auto mode. And that's what we talk about in our leadership coaching sessions. I like the definition that you bring in that, all change is not transformation, but all transformation is change. And that's something that I personally believe in. And while I unfold my transformation stories, the question that comes to my mind for you, Sakar, is when did the word transformation hit you for the first time?
Mm, uh, that's a good one. See, I don't remember specifically timeline, in the context of the timeline, like when specifically I got introduced to this concept. But I think life has its own ways and methods to give you exposure to such things time and again, and it does surely give as well. So, and I too have experienced bouts of transformations in the past, and I'm sure each one of us have. You let's say, for an example, you listen to a great enlightening talk, you feel transformed. You visit a powerful place, you feel some bit of transformation. You accomplish something, you feel transformed, and so on and so forth. But the only thing is that these are transformations, no denial. But these are transformations, those are happening in piecemeals. You feel transformed or changed for some duration, and then you circle back to your old patterns and ruts. I mean, it happens with all of us. I call them feel good transformations, but I'm still waiting for the real thing to happen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
That was an honest submission. We are all waiting for that. While you are very subtly telling me that you're not conscious of when this happened and how, and I guess for all of us it may not be very easy to articulate, but when I come across your profile, Sakar, you have gone from Six Sigma, and today right now you're coaching, then you're pursuing your MBA, executive MBA. So this is a very powerful transformation journey. So what were the triggers that made you move from, maybe say in your language, A to B, and now to see?
Yeah, I mean, these are changes, these are positive changes and transformations, and I don't deny from that fact. And we'll park this for the time being, and we'll first discuss the triggers, and then I'd like to share more thoughts on what it really means for me to have a real transformation. And I repeat, I'm not saying that these are not transformations, these are. But first, let's come to the question that you've asked me about the triggers. So I think fundamentally, for any transformation or a real change to take place, I think the first and foremost trigger for me, and otherwise, I think, has to be a strong desire to transform. And the second trigger is more often than not circumstantial. So I think in my scheme of things, strong desire, one. Second, external factors or circumstances. These two are the major triggers for any transformation to take place. Then what will be the degree of that transformation? What will be the, let's say, the circumference, the premise of that transformation? That depends on one's evolution. But I mean, how far he or she can take that transformation, then that depends on one's evolution. But as far as triggers are concerned, for me, it is strong desire to change or transform, and then some bit gets contributed through your external situations. So these are the two triggers.
Yeah, and I rightly said so, because when I was talking in my season one around purpose, passion, and power, my guests did speak about that the strong desire is something which actually triggers, also initiates the process of change, which perhaps may lead to a transformation in the process, going along. So
Yeah.
I am aligned to the thought process that you're sharing. I'm just taking you back a little here, Sakar, in terms of you mentioned, that's ambiguity, the word ambiguity. And I guess a lot of us shy away from change or transformation because we are not sure where we are going to go. You mentioned from form A, but we don't know what is form B and how it is going to shape out for us. And
Yeah.
the other word that comes to my mind during this entire process is the emotional ups and downs. So, uh, what is your take on how does one manage, in terms of the ambiguity part, which is mostly emotional during this entire process? And if you can share some examples or your experiences in your life of how you have handled it.
I mean, the emotional ambiguity, you mean?
Yes. When during the process of transformation, during the process of when you have a strong desire and you have initiated, but then you're not sure because you don't see the outcome in front of you.
Yeah. So I think my point of view will be a little different here. So see, I think the real transformation for me is that when the outcome, when the end result is not known. See, if it is known, then it might be a planned change, but it won't qualify to be called as a transformation. I think I would like to keep transformation as something where I like to define it as a journey without destination. That doesn't mean it is directionless, but I don't want to define the end state beforehand. I just want to stick myself, adhere myself to sincerely to the process that I have set forth for myself to achieve that transformation. Follow the process in a disciplined, consistent manner, and then let's see to what degree what happens. And whatever happens, if it is genuine, if it is real, that I call as transformation. I won't like to keep an end goal in mind and then say that, okay, this is what I am looking towards to get transformed into. I'm not sure whether I think my answer is relevant to what you have asked, or my
No,
understanding on your question is correct, but
mm, no. I think it is relevant in the terms, of course, I like the bit where you say it's a journey. It's definitely not a destination. That is something that I also agree and I align to. And what we say, change are smaller steps, which finally leads to a transformation. So it may not be a destination because I really don't know,
yeah,
what is happening. So I agree with
yeah,
that part of it. But where I perhaps want to know a little more, Sakar, and perhaps if you can share this entire journey where we are not sure where we are going. We know that we want to go, but we are not sure, and the emotional ups and downs every day may not be the same. While Monday may be a very motivated day, Wednesday may not be one. So, what is your suggestion, or what do you think one can handle this?
absolutely, absolutely. No, I think the question makes sense, and let me answer it in this way. Uh, so when we talk of a real transformation, or when we talk of a change, so before we go to the transformation, or before we go to the change, uh, we okay, let me put it this way. So when we talk of a change, we are talking about something that changes. That thing that changes is obviously more important than the change, right? So let's first talk of that which changes. So Mamita, let me ask you, what is it that usually human beings are really looking to change in themselves? If you can share a few keywords, and then I'll elaborate.
So one could be, the immediate thought that comes to my mind is a behavior, something that I think I can become a better. For instance, if I'm building on my listening skills, or if I want to change my, maybe build my patience, rather than becoming reactive, be more responsive. These are few things that people really want to change. One could be, also dealing with situations like critical situations rather than becoming anxious. Can I look at it logically? These are certain things that come to my mind immediately.
So yeah, you talked about things like patience, resilience, mindset, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, right. So fundamentally, we are talking of that internal change, right? The ways of the mind, the patterns of the mind, the conditions of the mind. So they change, and that's the objective of our discussion. And then we'll see how we'll deal with the ambiguity part of it. So usually what happens is we want to remove one pattern and substitute it with another pattern. When we say that something has changed, isn't that change not about moving from one groove to the other, moving from one ideology to the other, moving from, let's say, one relationship to the other, or one way of thinking to the other? I'm just questioning you and myself here. How is one pattern better than the other? Because the pattern itself is the confinement in my scheme of things, in my understanding. It's very similar to moving from one ailment to another ailment. Does it really qualify as a transformation or a change? I don't think so. So let us first of all really understand what is transformation or what is change. And I think the emotional ambiguity part will take care of itself. I'll at least I'll try. I'll attempt that. Right. So change is not the change in pattern itself. Change, as far as I am concerned, means uh, dissolution of the pattern. That pattern is no more. It has ceased to exist. Transformation does not mean that I have a new pattern now. It means that I am getting rid of all the patterns. I am getting free of all the patterns. Though it needs to be kind of carefully analyzed. Though when you change from pattern one to pattern two, that too it may appear that something has changed. And superficially, yes, something has changed. But actually, if you look at it, nothing has really changed. You were in one ward of the hospital previously, and now you're moved to another ward. Cursorily, it may look like, something has changed, but one thing is common: you're still in the hospital and you're still sick, right? So the real transformation is not in switching ideologies and patterns. uh, in my understanding, real transformation is in getting freedom from the pattern of the mind, in dissolution of patterns, in having the required freedom from the unrest of the mind. So that's the real transformation, in my opinion. So what people do, people find escapes in the name of transformation with mediocre substitution and pattern shifting. And then obviously, I'm not saying that the emotions are not involved, but then I think emotional volatility and outbreak of emotions or emotional distress is, I think, inevitable. So I think if the agenda of what is to be changed or what is to be transformed is clear in your head, I'm not saying it's an easy journey, but I think rest of the things will fall in place. Again, I'm not sure to what extent I'm able to answer,
No,
but
I am really loving this conversation. One point is that the clarity that I see, Sakar, the way you are using the terms and explaining it, and very well put. A lot of us, which at times also includes me, at times a small, and the change, is a small bit, and I really like it. A to B, and the example that you gave, the same hospital, I could visualize one ward to the other ward. But coming back, I think this clarity that transformation, if I'm all set for a transformation, emotion is going to be a part of it. So I don't need to worry about it. It is going to be a part of my transformation. So I see it in, kind of inside or a part or ingrained in transformation to happen, that my emotion may go up and down. So I don't think I need an external motivation. And that's why most of us feel transformations are triggered internally. That desire that you mentioned right away, that is where change possibly may be triggered by your feedback, or maybe by something from the external environment, and that may get triggered, and that's why it's more of short term, not demeaning a change, because coming about with a change is also not very easy. But transformation is at a different level altogether. And I like the clarity that you bring in, Sakar. So it's perfectly aligned with the conversation that we are on. Uh,
No,
yes, Sakar.
absolutely. And you captured the whole essence very, very aptly. So absolutely, you also you said the same thing, because you don't need to be worried about the emotions, because before the transformation or change, obviously there will be some butterflies in the stomach, and they should be there. During the transformation, you might feel challenged a number of times. You might feel, sometimes you might feel let down also. Sometimes you might have those victorious moments, right? And post the transformation, if you have achieved what you had set yourself on to, then you might feel elevated also. So I think it's a mixed bag of emotions, during and post the transformations, and I don't think they should be dealt separately. It's just strongly correlated and intertwined with the transformation itself.
Yeah, perfect. So I guess that makes it also very interesting and very easy. And we are making it easy. Yes, the person who goes through transformation it's a different experience altogether. But definitely, if I'm clear that this is change and this is transformation, I think life is a little more easier. Let's
Right.
move ahead and perhaps since we are talking using this word transformation so many times here, Sakar, if I ask you to just take a pause and reflect back on all the journey that you have been through personally, professionally, is there anything that you would like to transform about yourself?
That's a really good one. So many things actually need a reset.
Mm.
Mm, mm, but first and the foremost, as I said, I personally also want to get rid of the unrest of my own mind. I want to get rid of the hardcore, deep-rooted conditioning of the mind, of my own mind, of course. I know the conditioning and these patterns, they won't vanish completely, but at least if good amount of loosening, if that happens, that too will be a great starting ground for me to feel more free, let's say more flexible and adaptive. So I think this is the core thing which I want to reset and transform about my own self at this point in time.
Wonderful. This is like really taking me back to my entire philosophy of being aware and accepting. So, Sakar, you're already aware, you're accepted, and I'm sure you've already started taking action. So, all the best for this journey of yours. Uh,
Thank you.
as we talk and as we are saying that this is your transformation story, the entire podcast is named in this way. What message would you like to leave to our listeners today?
Hmm. See, I'm not prescriptive usually, but since an opportunity exists here, let me attempt. The message is, do whatever you feel like, but the only request is, uh, whatever be the case, don't let stagnation sweep in, because stagnation is that one thing that's totally, I would say, counterintuitive to our today's theme of transformation. So don't become a slave of the conditioning and patterns and the ruts of your own mind. Always be ready to experiment new things. Always be ready to learn, unlearn, and perhaps relearn. So and in the state in which you are conditioned and you find yourself tuned into or used to, you might feel a lot of familiarity, safety, and comfort, but there will be no real growth and evolution there. There will be a safety net, but there won't be any growth. So for you, me, and everyone else, a choice always does exist. Whether we choose the path of growth or stagnation, well, that depends on our own sensibilities. So what I will say is that pick your choices wisely. So yeah, that's the message. Yeah.
That's a very powerful and practical thought, Sakar. I mean, I guess we all tend to fall back, oh, this is going comfortable, and stagnancy in terms of, become comfortable. Yeah, oh, this is what I can do. Just not be there and not get into the well. Rather, always try to step out and jump into maybe different wells, but look and explore. I think that's been something that I personally also believe. And the comfort that you and me have today and we are talking, it's because we have explored. So I guess that's what our
Absolutely.
listeners would also want to know. And I love the word you said, don't get stagnated. I think that's very, very powerful. And with the social media today, that is very easy, where I don't know what I want to do and I still have a
Yeah.
choice. I think that's indeed very powerful. So
I mean, yeah,
lovely.
we all do. Yeah.
Yes. So lovely, Sakar. Thank you so much. I hope this conversation helps a lot of our listeners today to clarify between the change and transformation. Look forward to more such conversations with you. Of course, you have put me to a little thought process at this moment for sure. So thank you. Thank you for your
The
time.
pleasure is all mine, Mamita. Pleasure is all mine. And it was wonderful interacting with you and a lot of learning and reflection for me also. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you.